This case, Day v. Foster, takes us into the treacherous territory of romantic relationships gone sour. This is a legal minefield where personal promises, formal contracts, and hurt feelings create a tangled and complex mess. The story begins familiarly enough. A couple, Jared Day and Tammy Foster, co-sign a lease on an apartment. Legally, when they both signed that document, they created what is known as joint and several liability. This means the landlord can demand the full rent from either one of them. Between themselves, each is responsible for their share. Everything was fine until the relationship ended. Ms. Foster moved out in the middle of March, having already paid the rent for that entire month. Mr. Day sued her for the remaining 4 months on the lease. Immediately, his claim revealed a critical legal flaw. He had already found a new roommate who moved in on May 1st. Here, we encounter a crucial legal principle: the duty to mitigate damages. The law does not permit you to sit back and let damages accumulate when you have the ability to limit them. Since Mr. Day had a new paying roommate as of May, his actual potential loss, if any, was limited to a single month, April. So, the key question becomes, did Ms. Foster owe rent for April? Mr. Day's argument was simple. She signed the contract, she left, she must pay. But Ms. Foster presented a compelling defense. She stated that after their breakup, they made a separate oral agreement. They would continue to live together peacefully until the lease ended, on the condition that neither would bring other members of the opposite sex into the apartment. Mr. Day breached this agreement when he brought his new girlfriend, Andrea, to the apartment, even leaving photographic evidence behind. Ms. Foster, feeling betrayed and emotionally unable to tolerate the situation, decided to stop payment on the April rent check. And this is where Judge Judy's analysis was brilliant. Mr. Day tried to argue that their side agreement only applied while they were both physically living there. Judge Judy dismissed this argument bluntly, and I fully concur. She said, "That would be stupid." And why? Because the entire purpose of the agreement was to maintain a peaceful living space for them both. For Mr. Day to bring another woman into a home that Ms. Foster was still paying for completely destroyed the spirit and purpose of that agreement. Mr. Day's actions, in legal terms, could be viewed as a form of constructive eviction. While he didn't verbally throw her out, he created an intolerable living environment that violated their core agreement, effectively forcing her out emotionally and leading to her stopping payment. He was the first party to breach the contract. Consequently, his claim for rent collapsed. The judgment to dismiss his case was perfectly sound. Now, let's flip the coin and examine Ms. Foster's counterclaim: harassment, defamation, and causing the loss of her job. Regarding harassment, she accused Mr. Day of barging into her home and throwing papers at her. Judge Judy was right to distinguish between bad behavior and legal harassment. Legal harassment typically requires a persistent pattern of severe conduct intended to cause emotional distress. A single outburst, while unacceptable, may not meet that high legal threshold. But the most serious allegation was defamation causing her to be fired. Mr. Day sent an email to Ms. Foster's workplace expressing concern that she might try to blackmail him. To win a defamation claim, Ms. Foster had to prove 3 things: a false statement that was published to a third party, and that it caused her damages. This is where her case fell apart. Was the statement false? Judge Judy pointed out a subtle but critical distinction. Mr. Day did not state, "Tammy is blackmailing me." He stated he was concerned she might. Expressing a fear or an opinion, rather than a statement of fact, is much more difficult to prove as false. Causation. This is the mountain that most plaintiffs in similar cases cannot climb. Could Ms. Foster prove that Mr. Day's email was the direct and sole cause of her termination? She was fired by a new supervisor. Without testimony from that supervisor, her claim is merely speculation. It's possible the new supervisor was simply cleaning house, and her termination had nothing to do with the email. She could not prove the causal link. Therefore, Judge Judy's final ruling was to dismiss both claims. Mr. Day was not entitled to rent because he breached their agreement first. Ms. Foster could not win her counterclaim because she lacked the evidence to meet the high legal standards for harassment and defamation. What is the lesson here? The courtroom is not the place to resolve every heartache from a relationship. There is a vast difference between being treated poorly and having an enforceable legal claim. The case of Dave v. Foster is a powerful reminder that when personal agreements and legal obligations are mixed, the result is often chaos. And in that chaos, without clear, concrete proof, the law can only do so much. And you? What do you think about this issue? Leave a comment to let me know, or if you want me to elaborate on any episode, just say so.